أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي ربنا زدنا علما يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلبي على دينك Amin. Today we'll do Surah Naziat, and this is also a Makki Surah having 46 verses in it. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. وَالنَّازِعَاتِ غَرْقًا. On the oath of those angels who harshly extract souls. وَالنَّاشِطَاتِ نَشْطًا. Those who untie knots. وَالسَّابِحَاتِ سَبْحًا. Those who swim along. فَالسَّابِقَاتِ سَبْقًا. Who then swiftly race. فَالْمُدَبِّرَاتِ أَمْرًا. And those who arrange the commands of Allah. يَوْمَ تَرْجُفُ الرَّاجِفَةُ. The day shall certainly take place when that which shakes shall shake. تَتْبَعُهَا الرَّادِفَةُ. To be followed by that which will follow. قُلُوبٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ وَاجِفَةٌ. On that day many hearts will be fluttering. أَبْصَارُهَا خَاشِيَةٌ. With their gaze cast down. يَقُولُونَ أَإِنَّا لَمَرْدُودُونَ فِي الْحَافِرَةِ. They say, will we be returned to our former states? أَإِذَا كُنَّا إِزَامًا نَخِرَةً. Even after we have become decomposed bones. قَالُوا تِلْكَ إِذًا كَرَّةٌ خَاسِرَةٌ. They say, in that case, the return shall be a tremendous loss. فَإِنَّمَا هِيَ زَجْرَةٌ وَاحِدَةٌ. It will be only a single blast. فَإِذَا هُمْ بِالسَّاهِرَةِ. And they will all immediately be present for reckoning. Okay, these verses speak about the advent of Qiyamah. Allah begins by taking oath of several types of angels to assert that the day shall certainly take place when that which shakes shall shake. Allah says, by the oath of these angels who harshly extract souls, the emphasis in this verse denotes that these angels mercilessly wrench the soul from every portion of the dying person's body, causing excruciating pain. Allah then swears by those angels who untie knots. This refers to those angels who remove souls very gently from the body. Commentator states that the first group of angels extract the souls of the kafir, while the second group extract the souls of the mu'mineen. Of course, there are times when Allah causes the death of a mu'min to be difficult so that he may earn an exalted status in the hereafter. The hadith mentioned that the soul of a mu'min emerges from the body as easily as water emerges from a water bag. On the other hand, when a kafir has to leave this world for the hereafter, dark-faced angels descend from the heavens. They carry with them sackcloth and appear before him as far as the eyes can see. Then the angel of death himself comes, sits by the head and says, O fall soul, emerge towards Allah's anger. The soul then disperses throughout the body in an attempt to escape. Thereafter the angel of death forcefully extracts the soul, just as wet wool wrapped around the skewer is forcefully removed. When the angel of death removes the soul, the other angel, without losing a split second, grasp hold of the soul and wrap it in sackcloth. narrated by Mishkat, page number 142. Allah Ta'ala then takes an oath by those angels who swim along. Commentators state that this refers to the fluid and swift movement of the angels as they transport the soul of the mu'min to the heaven. Thereafter, Allah swears by the angels, who then swiftly race off with the souls of people once Allah instructs them where to take the soul. Once the decision is made and the instruction issued, the angel hasten to arrange the fulfillment of the commands of Allah. The above oaths are taken to assert that the day shall certainly take place when that which shakes shall shake. This verse refers to the day of Qiyamah, and that which shakes refer to the first blowing of the trumpet, which will violently shake everything. The first blowing of the trumpet will be followed by that which will follow, that is, by the second blowing of the trumpet. Describing the condition of the people on the day of Qiyamah, Allah says, on that day many hearts will be fluttering with their gaze cast down. Allah then quotes what the Kafir used to say about Qiyamah. They say, will we be returned to our former states even after we have become decomposed bones? The kuffar regard the advent of Qiyamah as something far-fetched and cynically ask these questions. They also say in that case the return shall be a tremendous loss. The kuffar said that if Qiyamah were to take place as Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, they could be ruined because they will then suffer the punishment for their rejection. However, this statement was also intended to mock the belief of Qiyamah because the kuffar did not even have a vague belief that Qiyamah would be a reality. If they did have the concern that they may have to suffer a loss, they would not have behaved as badly as they did. Even if a dishonest person wants because not to go to a certain place because there is a large snake there, people would be very cautious to go there because they fear for their safety. If the kuffar during the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam believed that the possibility of Qiyamah could exist, they would have been foolish to make the claim they did when they knew Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to be an honest person. It will it will be only a single blast, and they will all immediately be present for reckoning. In this verse, although the kuffar regarded the advent of Qiyamah to be something far-fetched and impossible, it is an extremely simple matter for Allah. When Allah issues the command, all it takes for people to be resurrected for Qiyamah is a single blast of the trumpet, and everyone will present themselves without delay. In the next verses, from verse number 15 till verse number 26. Let's recite the verses. Hal ataka hadith Musa, has the story of Musa alayhi salam reached you? Isnadahu rabbuhu bilwadil muqaddasi Tuwa, when his Rabb called him on the blessed valley of Tuwa. اذهب إلى فرعون إنه طغى, go to Pharaoh, for he has certainly transgressed. فقل هل لك إلى أن تزكى, tell him, do you want to be purified? وأهديك إلى ربك فتخشى, and should I guide you to your Rabb so that you may fear him? فَأَرَاهُ الْآيَاتَ الْكُبْرَى. So he showed him a great sign. فَكَذَّبَ وَأَسَى. But he falsified and disobeyed. ثُمَّ أَدْبَرَ يَسْعَى. Then he turned away and applied himself. فَحَشَرَ فَنَادَى. He gathered the people and proclaimed, فَقَالَ أَنَا رَبُّكُمُ الْأَعْلَى. I am your highest Rabb. Astaghfirullah. فَأَخَذَهُ اللَّهُ نَكَالَ الْآخِرَةِ وَالْأُولَى. So Allah seized him with the punishment of this world and the hereafter. إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَإِبْرَةً لِمَنْ يَخْشَى. There is certainly a lesson in this for the one who fears. Okay, Hazrat Musa alayhi salam was from the Bani Israel who lived in Egypt from the time of Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam. The Copts of Egypt greatly oppressed the Bani Israel and made their lives miserable. It was during these trying time that Hazrat Musa alayhi salam was born. Upon direction from Allah Ta'ala, his mother placed him in a basket, which she put in the river. Then the basket passed by Pharaoh's palace. Pharaoh's wife had it removed from the river. When she saw the child inside, she was overwhelmed with the child and beseeched Pharaoh to keep the child as a son in the palace. Consequently, Hazrat Musa alayhi salam grew up in Pharaoh's palace. When he grew up, he liked a Copt by mistake when he tried to assist an Israeli. When the news reached Pharaoh and his ministers, they decided to execute Hazrat Musa alayhi salam. Learning of their intentions, Hazrat Musa alayhi salam left Egypt and settled in Madian, where he married and tended the goats of his father-in-law for 10 years. He then decided to return to Egypt with his wife but lost the way. Eventually, he saw what appeared to be a fire in the distance. Thinking that he could get a brand of fire to keep his wife warm and find someone to direct him. Hazrat Musa alayhi salam set out in the direction of the fire. When he reached the scared valley of Tuwa, where the fire was, Allah addressed him and made him a Nabi. Subhanallah. Allah asked him to throw down his stuff, which Allah made into a snake, and Allah also showed him that his hand could become a shining lamp by placing it beneath his arm. Allah also commanded him to preach to Pharaoh and his people. It is with reference to this that Allah says, has the story of Musa alayhi salam reached you? When his Rabb called him on the blessed valley of Tuwa, he said to him, go to Pharaoh. He has certainly transgressed. Tell him, do you want to be purified? And should I guide you to your Rabb so that you may fear him? Complying with Allah's command, Hazrat Musa alayhi salam left Egypt, where he was joined by his brother Harun alayhi salam, whom Allah has also made a Nabi at Hazrat Musa alayhi salam's request. Entering Pharaoh's court, they warned him about Allah's punishment if he did not desist from his evil ways. They told him, it has been revealed to us that punishment shall be for those who falsify and turn away. Hearing that Hazrat Musa alayhi salam preached the divinity of Allah, Pharaoh was extremely upset because he indoctrinated the people into believing that he was their God. He asked Hazrat Musa alayhi salam a series of questions to intimate him, but Hazrat Musa alayhi salam answered the questions with great courage. Unable to win any ground from Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, Pharaoh finally said, if you take another as a deity besides myself, I shall definitely make you of the prisoner. Musa alayhi salam said, even if I bring you a clear proof? Pharaoh said, bring it if you are truthful. So Musa alayhi salam cast down his staff and it suddenly became a manifest serpent. And he withdrew his hand, which instantly turned white for all to see. Surah Shura and verses are 29 till 33. It is with reference to these miracles that Allah says, so he, Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, showed him Pharaoh a great sign. However, instead of accepting, Pharaoh falsified and disobeyed. Pharaoh then declared that Hazrat Musa alayhi salam was a magician and arranged a contest between Hazrat Musa alayhi salam and the magicians of the land. Not only did Hazrat Musa alayhi salam defeat the magicians, but he made them all mu'mineen. However, Pharaoh was still adamant not to accept and continued claiming his divinity. Allah says that Pharaoh turned away and applied himself to find a way to stop the spread of Hazrat Musa alayhi salam's message. He gathered the people and proclaimed, I am your highest Rabb. However, all their schemes failed, and he was eventually drawn with his entire army. Allah says, so Allah seized him with the punishment of this world and the hereafter. Allah says about Pharaoh in Surah Hud, he will lead his people on the day of judgment and enter them into the fire. It is an evil place indeed where they shall be entered. About him and his army, Allah says in Surah Qasas, we set a curse after them in this world, and on the day of Qiyamah they shall be among the hateful. Allah declares, there is certainly a lesson in this for the one who fears. People who are concerned that they should not suffer the same plight because of the disobedience will heed the lessons in this episode. However, those who are heedless of the warning and who do not care to apply their intelligence will continue to disobey Allah. Like Pharaoh and his people, they will also destroy themselves. The detail of Hazrat Musa alayhi salam's story is discussed in Surah Yunus, Surah Taha, Surah Namal, Surah Qasas, and several other surahs as well. Now let's see the other verses. Okay, I will recite from the verse number 27 till 33. أأنتم أشد خلقا أم السماء بناها? Are you more difficult to create or the sky? Allah has created it. رفع سمكها فسواها, elevated its proof and perfected it. وأغطش ليلها وأخرج زحاها, made its night dark and made its day manifest. وَالْأَرْضَ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ دَحَاهَا, thereafter Allah spread out the earth. أَخْرَجَ مِنْهَا مَاءَهَا وَمَرْعَاهَا, He extracted from the earth her water and fodder. وَالْجِبَالَ أَرْسَاهَا, and firmly stationed the mountains. مَتَاعًا لَكُمْ وَلِأَنْعَامِكُمْ, so all this for your benefit and for the benefit of your animals. Further addressing those who reject the coming of Qiyamah, Allah asks, are you more difficult to create or the sky? Because the sky is much larger creation and contains so many phenomena. Any person will understand that its creation should be more difficult than the creation of a man. If Allah has the power to create the sky, He certainly has the power to resurrect man on the day of Qiyamah. Not only did Allah create the sky, Allah also elevated its roof, perfected it, made its night dark, and made its day manifest. Allah relates the day and the day to the sky because it appears and if as if they extend from the sky. After creating the sky, Allah spread out the earth. He extracted from the earth her water and fodder and firmly stationed the mountains to stabilize the earth. All this for your benefit and for the benefit of your animals. It is therefore incumbent upon man to express gratitude to Allah for all these bounties and to believe in the divine scriptures and whatever Allah has revealed to His Anbiya alayhi salam. Refer to the commentaries of the verse 9 till 12 of Surah Hamim Sajda. The number of the surah is 41 in Quran. For details about the sequence in which Allah created the heavens and the earth. فَإِذَا جَاءَتِ الطَّامَّةُ الْكُبْرَى. So when the tremendous calamity befalls, يَوْمَ يَتَذَكَّرُ الْإِنسَانُ مَا سَعَى. That day man will recall what he did. Ayat number 36. وَبُرِّزَتِ الْجَحِيمُ لِمَنْ يَرَى. And Jahannam will be manifest for those who look on. وَأَمَّا مَنْ طَغَى. As for the one who transgresses. وَآثَرَ الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا. And who prefer the life of this world. وَإِنَّ الْجَحِيمَ هِيَ الْمَأْوَى. Then Jahannam shall certainly be his abode. وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَى. As for the one who fears standing before his Rabb and who restrains himself from carnal passions. Ayat number 41. فَإِنَّ الْجَنَّةَ هِيَ الْمَأْوَى. Then Jannah shall definitely be his abode. يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ السَّاعَةِ أَيَّانَ مُرْسَاهَا. They ask you about when Qiyamah will take place. فِيمَا أَنْتَ مِنْ ذِكْرَهَا. What have you to tell about it? إِلَى رَبِّكَ مُنْتَهَاهَا. To your Rabb belongs the knowledge of its term. إِنَّمَا أَنْتَ مُنْذِرُ مَا يَخْشَاهَا. You are a warner only to him who fears it. كَأَنَّهُمْ يَوْمَ يَرَوْنَهَا لَمْ يَلْبَثُوا إِلَّا عَشِيَّةً أَوْ ضُحَاهَا. The day when they see it, it will seem as if they lived only an evening or a morning. Referring to Qiyamah, Allah says, so when the tremendous calamity befalls that day, man will recall what he did, and Jahannam will be manifest for those who look on. The Arabic word Tamma, translated above as calamity, is derived from the word Tamma, which refers to something that rises above and overwhelms everything else. Qiyamah is therefore referred to as Tamma because it is a calamity that overwhelms all other calamities. Hazrat Hassan Basri Rahimullah states that the tremendous calamity refers to the second blowing of the trumpet. When Qiyamah takes place, every person will realize whether his deeds are good enough to take him to Jannah or whether they are lacking. On that day, there will be only two groups, as Allah says in Surah Shura. A group shall be in Jannah while others shall be in the blaze. Verse number 7. Allah refers to those two groups individually, speaking of those destined for Jahannam. Allah says, as for the one who transgresses and who refers the life of this world, then Jahannam shall certainly be his abode. People generally cling to kufr and refuse to accept Islam because they fear losing their wealth or positions. This displays their preference for this world over the hereafter. It is for the same reason that Muslims also commit sins. Closing after wealth, fame, and position leads people to commit sins, to neglect their farz and wajib obligations, and to involve themselves in everything that violates Allah's commands. On the other hand, when a person gives preference to the life hereafter, he will be conscious about the leading a life of piety and will stay far from sin. Allah then speaks about the second type of person. Then He says, as for the one who fears standing before his Rabb and who restrain himself from carnal passions, then Jannah shall definitely be his abode. Whenever a person wants to do good and to abstain from evil, his carnal self presents an obstacle. One's carnal self wants only pleasure and enjoyment and loves the world for this. It has no inclination for the hereafter because its concern is only for the pleasure of this world. It will therefore spur a person on to commit sins and to lead a life of recklessness. Therefore, when a person gains control over his carnal self, his nafs, he will be able to abstain from sins and will content himself with that is halal instead of haram. Such people will attain the high ranks of Jannah. The person who fears standing for reckoning before Allah will receive two gardens of Jannah. As Allah says in Surah Rahman, the one who fears standing in the presence of his Rabb shall have two gardens. The number of the surah is 55 in Quran and the verse number is 46. Hazrat Jabir Raziyallahu Ta'ala anhu narrates that Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, I fear most of my ummah that they follow the dictates of their nafs and that they entertain lengthy hopes. Desire of the nafs prevent one from the truth and lengthy hopes make one forget about the akhirah. This world is traveling and leaving while the akhirah is traveling and approaching. Each has its sons, so if you can avoid being a son of this world, then do so. Today you are in the place of deeds, the world, where there is no reckoning, and tomorrow you will be in the akhirah, where there are two deeds, only reckoning. Narrated by Mishkat, page number 444. Addressing Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah says, they ask you about when Qiyamah will take place. The kuffar actually asked about Qiyamah, mocking because they did not really want to know what it will occur. Allah says to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam could not inform them about when Qiyamah will take place because he was not informed about its date. To your Rabb belong the knowledge of its tongue. Allah says in Surah Araf, they ask you regarding Qiyamah, when will it occur? Say, the knowledge of this is with my Rabb. Only He will manifest it on its time. It will be weighty on the heavens and the earth and will appear suddenly. They ask you as if you have perfect knowledge of it. Say, the knowledge of this is only with Allah, but most people do not know. Verse number 187, and the surah is 7 in Quran. Allah says, you are a warner only to him who fears it. Those who have no concern for Qiyamah will not heed 1,000 warnings of Qiyamah. However, a single warning suffices for the one who is concerned about his plight in the Akhirah. Allah concludes the surah by saying, the day when they see it, it will seem as if they lived only an evening or a morning. People persistently ask about the date of Qiyamah as if they are looking forward to it. All they intend doing is to mock the belief. However, When they see Qiyamah taking place before their very eyes, they will regret their ways, and their lives of tens or even hundreds of years will seem even less than a day. The life which may thought would never end will seem like only a dream. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.